Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit Happens, where shit always happens. Like my guests is running late. I hope it's just running late and not leaving me on standby, Nobody likes being stood by? Yeah, something like that. And it's funny because I haven't been here since last Friday. And you would think a week will be all that I needed to refresh myself, but shit happens and TalkShitWithP will be taking a bit of a longer break after this. And for some reason, my shit is deciding to move itself. This is what happens when you buy things TikTok recommends. How the fuck do I turn this off? Because it's literally moving itself, but my body is not moving, so I don't know what's going on. I think it's following my hands. I love this. But since my guest is not here, let me tell you what we have going on. But first, let me try to switch this off because this is going to be annoying. Okay, I think I did it. Yay! We did it. It's switched off. Thank God. So we had one guest today. Hopefully he's going to show up and he's just running late. And then we have the incredible Sid Midas tomorrow at 11 a.m. And I'm excited about this conversation because first, it is Sid. If you've ever been in an empowered podcasting clubhouse room, then you know about Sid and what he does and his podcast. And I just love how humble of a person he is, despite all the amazing cool shit he does. And he's finally calling quits to his podcast, The Trend Report. And I'm just excited to have that conversation with him because, believe it or not, I have been debating about going that direction with, and then I ended up bringing Shit Happens, but now I'm still like, should I, shouldn't I? So I can't wait for that conversation. And if you've ever been in a place where you're wondering if you should continue with your podcast, you should rebrand, you should stop, you should take a break, whatever, then join us tomorrow at 11 for that conversation. It's going to be amazing. Oh, shit. I just remembered, I don't think I sent Brian the link. So it could be that Brian can't come in because I did not send him the link. No, I did not send him the link. Oh, shit. While I do that, also at 12 o'clock tomorrow, we have Rebecca Johnson, who's the host of Love Is Not Dead, Just My Husband, and the hashtag Widow Your Way. I love it. I love her story. I love her braveness. I am just excited to have her on my podcast and just have that conversation with her and learn a little bit more about that. But y'all, excuse me, I am about to send. I feel so bad. I'm here talking about being stood up, but apparently I did not send the link to Brian. So hopefully he gets this and it comes on. Jim. Brian, if you are there listening to me, and what is your email, Brian? But otherwise, welcome to Shit Happens, where shit is literally happening. And sometimes you forget shit and you blame other people when it's really not their fault but yours. So, Brian, please forgive me. And I am literally finding your email address right now so I can send you the link. Oh my God. Hopefully you get it in time. Hopefully you're watching your email to get this. What the fuck? Excuse my language, but something else. Brian, what's the email? Brian Major 779. Brian Major 779 at gmail.com. Brian, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But if you get this, I hope you still come in. But I'm gonna send it to you, Sonia. And he's always on Facebook Messenger, so hopefully I can find him on Facebook. And I'll wait a little bit. And here I was thinking, I was delayed, but I hope I don't make this same mistake. And he did message me on Facebook. Oh my God. I feel so bad, Brian. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Okay, so that was not Brian. And I'm on the wrong account. This is what happens when you have so many accounts, right? I had to get on my Facebook personal account. Oh, actually, he didn't even message me. So either Brian also kind of forgot, because he didn't message me asking me for a link. Okay, hopefully he does get it and he comes in. Otherwise, you're gonna hang out with me here and talk about shit. All the shit. I'm gonna wait for like at least 15 minutes because I was wrong for this. But all right. While we wait on Brian, who's my guest, I'm gonna continue telling you about the guest I have. So we have Sid tomorrow at 11. We have Rebecca tomorrow at 12. Please remind me all to send them their links. And then we have Natalie Monday at 11 a.m., who we are gonna talk about online businesses and starting them and being successful in them and growing them, which is something that I'm working on doing. So I am excited about that. And the last one for March, unless somebody else ends up doing a last minute schedule, because Sid scheduled yesterday for tomorrow. I'm like, okay, let's do this. I have Miss Latrice Samson, one of my G's from Afros and Algiers. I met her in Afros and Algiers and we just connected. I love her. And we're going to talk about a lot of incredible things, being a Black creator, winning awards. She's an award-winning podcaster, and just amazing stuff about podcasting and, the spaces we create for fellow Black podcasters and being in a community. So I'm excited about that. And that will be ending the Shit Happens series for March. I'm going to share more on what I plan to do going forward in my Say Your Shit session on Tuesday, 9 a.m., which I missed this week, but I will be there next week. And it will probably be more than 20 minutes because I'll be sharing a little bit more. And Brian is here. So let me go ahead and bring on Brian. Hey, Brian, welcome to Shit
How
Happens.
are
The shit
you? How are
always
you?
happen. I am good. And yourself?
I'm wonderful.
Thank you for
Early. Well, no, it's
joining
actually
me.
not that early.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for having
joining
me.
me. I like your. Is that really your background, or is just that a screen?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Look, I tried to download mine, but since I don't have an account, it was like you can't put your own stuff on. So I like let me look fancy.
I
Look like I
love
got
it.
something.
I mean, that's how we manifest shit, right? You gotta
Hey, there you
be,
go.
you
Look, I,
gotta
I
be,
don't need the piano and all that, but I'll make it work.
you gotta be feel like you're already there to make it happen. So, and a piano, you never know.
Definitely.
One day John Legend might stop by your place, so you should always have a piano. You never know.
Hey, I like to tinker a little bit. I know a couple of
Man,
think, think, think. So
How are you doing this
Uh,
Friday morning?
I am wonderful. How about yourself?
I am great. I am loving the weather. It's nice and it's just a beautiful, blessed Friday. I'm blessed to be alive. Even though sometimes I wonder
And
why the fuck I am, but I am.
because you have a purpose that you have yet to find and finish serving, that's why you are alive. That's why you deal with everything. Because there's
Amen.
still there's still room.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So, Brian, I met you recently, actually, very recently, and your energy, your vibe, you feel like somebody I've known for a long time. So thank you for coming into my life.
Thank you for allowing me. It was meant to be, you
It
know.
really was. It really was. Um, so your podcast, right? I want to get into this in a very different way, but your podcast, the Solar Expression podcast. I want to
Yes,
know
ma'am.
how that started. What was the purpose? What got you into podcasting to now where you are? Because I know it has things to do with poetry. So let's get into that.
Yeah, well, actually, the podcast it started out. Used to call it poetically creative mind. And what I would do, I would interview people who uh, wrote books and didn't were doing self-publishing. That's really where it started. I saw that there were a lot of people doing self-publishing and they needed help just promoting themselves. So that's where that podcast came in. And there were some things happened to me because I started that like in 2019, I think, and I was pretty far within the episodes, but some things happened, and I met a person that, you know, kind of shifted all that. So I stopped podcasting for a while on that one. And here recently, on my spiritual journey, I was called back into doing it again because it had been a few years since I had even, I do another podcast with some friends called, what the hell do we call that show? God damn it.
I
Two
I
blunts and a cigar. I had
I
to think
hope that
about it.
I was like, I hope they're not watching because
I
they're
hope
gonna
they
be
are. So
like,
they know
you. I was like, you're not gonna remember what that your shirt is called.
look, I forget half the shit I'm supposed to do on there anyway, so they understand.
Did you say two blunts and a cigar?
Yes, two blunts. No, two cigars in a blunt. I'm thinking about me. I'm being selfish. It's two cigars in a blunt.
And that's with three friends.
Yes, I think it's five of us all together.
So for me, when you say two cigars and a blunt, I'm thinking maybe two of them are smoking cigars and one is a blunt person, not a cigar person. So it's three people
Well,
doing.
well, 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 that's how it started out. But we added people and just bringing different energies and different flavors with what we do. So it's
Sometimes
like
it's
something
needed.
completely different from my own podcast because that's more current events and just things that's going on. And with
Right.
my podcast, that's more of, I'm trying to reach out to people who are in need of healing or just in need of helping find themselves and understanding their purpose with their lives and what they want to do with themselves. Because some people just don't know how to see outside of their box. And I've always been very creative in my thinking about just work in general, how people act, how people be. I love to watch people. I love to learn from people. Like I can go somewhere and I can just sit and watch the people moving around
Me too.
without
I love
even
people watching.
yeah, because you learn so much from just watching. So
And the
you
creative
know,
out of it, because sometimes you're creating these scenarios in your head about them or whatever the fuck they're doing that you're like, oh shit, that sounds so good. I should write a book about that. I should go podcast
yeah,
about
oh
that.
yeah, you
I should.
create your own damn stories about somebody just by looking at them. Like, yep, they do. This is my story. So yeah, that's real fun. I love doing that. So see, you got the same kind of fun mindset.
I feel like there's a lot of bad shit that happens in the world daily, right? You can't there's no way of making bad shit not happen. Like you can't control that, but you can control good shit. Like it's the
Mhm.
little things, right? You take a walk in the nature when it's nice weather, how you feel like sometimes even sitting outside, like me right now, where the weather is nice and just feeling like I'm literally watching people because literally it is a parking lot, right? And
Yeah.
it's the little things that make it exciting. Like you can give those to yourself. All you have to do is just be willing to daydream a little. There's nothing bad about daydreaming or creating
I know.
scenarios that to take you out of this, because bad shit is always going to happen. That's why I don't even watch news, because news is always going to report the bad
No.
shit.
That's what they're there for, to keep your mind in a state of fear. That's what they want, to have you scared and in fear all the time. So, that's what they do.
So
But you just have to be above that. Like you say, I don't watch the news either. Like if it wasn't so chilly and rainy, I have the door up and you'd be able to see the outside, but it's too chilly and rainy today in Florida, mind you.
I
It's
mean,
outrageous.
Florida, I feel like it's its own country because it has its own shit constantly. Like nothing makes
Yeah.
sense about Florida. So that's why I only come like once a year when it's Sport Fest.
Well,
but
it was nice this year. The weather's usually nice around that time of year. So y'all
but I
y'all
mean,
got it at a good time.
I mean, a week before Sport Fest, your weather was kind of shitty. Everybody was like, "Is this what we're coming for?" Because people had their jackets on. I was like, "Nah, man, I ain't coming to Florida. I'm not leaving Atlanta to come to Florida for fucking cold ass weather." But
Yeah,
it ended up clearing up for us. So thank you, Florida. But
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
curious, how did you get into poetry? Have you always been into poetry from as a kid, or is it something that happened while you were in the army, or how? Let's hear the story of your poetry journey.
It's something that I've always dabbled in since I was younger. But as the older I got, the more I started tapping into it. But it was something that I would go to and come back to, go to. But when I got in therapy, that was my therapist asked me, what do I enjoy doing that could help me to, just clear my mind of what was going on. So the first thing I went to was poetry. So it's just something natural because I say I'm a decent poet. Some people may disagree, but I don't really care. I enjoy, just being able to express myself in creative ways, and sometimes saying one thing but meaning something completely different than what you actually see in the words. And I understand what it means, but people reading it may not even understand what the context actually is. So I enjoy things like that.
I mean, being an artist, not everybody is gonna appreciate your artist. Doesn't mean you're bad or you're good, right? Like just when you go to museums, everybody interprets shit their own way. Just when you go to galleries, we can be looking at the same art picture and everybody has a different story or different version, or you might like it and I might be like, what the fuck, it's just a dot, so
Yeah.
just because certain people don't, and I feel like when people don't understand, they get into hating just because they don't understand. And sometimes just because you don't understand doesn't mean it's good or bad. You just don't fucking understand, and that's
Definitely.
okay.
Yeah. Because, like I say, there's a lot of shit that I don't understand about people, but hell, I just figure, hey, you're gonna do what you do, and that's what it
If it
is. I'm
works
not
for
gonna
you,
try and
it
figure
works
it
for
out.
you.
Yeah, definitely. I don't judge you. It is what it is.
And you mentioned going to therapy, which I am so proud of you for that, because being black, going to therapy or saying I need help or I'm seeking therapy, it's always like a taboo, like especially for men to admit that I'm going to therapy or I'm seeing a therapist, right? What got you into going to therapy or seeing a therapist?
I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to not always be depressed, and I wanted to not always be in my thoughts. But and the thing about it, like I've learned so much about myself now that I realized that a lot of this stuff that I was dealing with wasn't even mine that I was carrying. So therapy helped me to be able to take those things and, like I said, turn it into poetry, turn it into creativity, because some of the music I create is through that. Some of the food that I create was through that because it just gave me an outlet. So I'm a big proponent of therapy. I've been doing therapy since I was in my early 20s. So, I have no issues with going talk to someone and getting the outside view because I'm all about different perspectives of life. It's my life at the end of the day, but I still need to at least seek out counsel from someone else who's lived or have experienced something or has knowledge about something, because I can always take that and mold it to what will fit me best, you know.
I love that. And I also condemn you again because you said you've been going to therapy since your 20s, where even it was worse taboo then compared to now, where we even joke, like, go see a therapist. Like, everything, we throw the word therapy, like, compared to back in the days, even kind of just bringing it up. Somebody's looking at you like, you think I have that many issues? Like, going to therapy was like such a big
Mhm.
failure, right? Or just like when you say, when people would get divorced, they'd be ashamed. That was also how people felt about therapy. But I love that you look at it differently, and I love that more people these days, especially black men, because there's nothing like a black man feeling safe and secure. And you guys do have feelings and emotions and thoughts, and it should be allowed to work through that, right? Without feeling any kind of way, oh, because I'm a man, I should be strong, or because I'm a man, I shouldn't cry, or I shouldn't share my emotions. Fuck that shit. Like, at the end of the day, the more you keep it here, the more it fucks up with your head, the more you become not the person you can become. So I love that. And you
Mhm.
said I mean, you're a man of many shit. Chef, poetry, musician. How were you? But I feel like because music and poetry kind of goes together. But and you're a husband, you're a father. How do you balance all that? And how does your creativity, like, I'm just a podcaster, and every time I think about content creating for my podcast or the things I want to accomplish for my podcast, and that's just one thing, I get so crazy. So I'm imagining having all this and trying to balance your creativity and all.
You see that? That helps with my balance. And then a lot of the stuff I
But
do
here's the thing:
is
when I do that, I get more creative and I want to do all the fucking shit. Like, it makes
well, see, the thing about it is that like with the poetry and the music, those are spur of the moment type things. Like that, I'll be into it for a few months and then I'll just stop and start something else. And then I'll be into it, then I'll stop, start something else. So like my main roles, father, husband, chef, because I cook at home. Those are things that, it's a part of life. So you have to figure it out. But everything else I do, I'm all about, time. And when the time says it's time to switch and start doing something, that's just what I do.
so when you
So
say
I
you
have no
switch, is
schedule.
so when you say you switch or you stop for a moment, is that because you get bored easily? Like, because I know some creatives, when they just get bored easily, they're like, okay, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Or it's just, I'm
Yeah,
feeling this right now.
my mind is always going, so I'll just like I'll be doing music and making songs for like a few months, and then one day it's just like I don't feel like doing it anymore. So let me start working on maybe getting the podcast back together. And I'm consistent at being inconsistent. Like I'll do it, but then it's like when I post, I'll post something, and then I might not post for 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months, and then I'm back posting like a few videos, then I disappear. So I'm that's just the way I do it. Like even my content is like one day I'm talking about something I've seen in the movie, the next thing I'm healing yourself, so keep you vibrate. So I'm always just gotta stick with me. I don't know which way I'm going, but I know I'm going somewhere.
Amen. And you're doing what your mind needs, and you're not forcing it to stick to one shit or just make shit happen when it doesn't feel. You're respecting your mind when it just can't. And sometimes you do need that break so that it can recharge and bring new ideas and new inspirations and all that amazing stuff. So would you say there's music out there with Brian, or a poetry book? Should we be expecting any of that shit? Or
Honestly, I have three poetry books already that I have put together. I just have yet to release them because, like I said, everything for me is about timing. But I already have them done because I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of poems that I write because I now poetry that happens anytime because I might be in the shower and I might get an idea, so I got to keep repeating it until I get out the shower. Or I'm driving, so I have to just talk it into the thing, and so there's always ideas for the poetry going. That's nonstop. But there will be books coming in time. So I do have a quick question because I'm trying to share this live so people can see it, but I don't know how. How can I do that?
Are you logged into your StreamYard?
I don't have a StreamYard.
Okay, so in order for you to be able to share, you need to have a StreamYard account and then you log in. But you
Let's see.
can always create a free one. Oh, what happened? Did you just disappear? Okay. So while we wait for him to come back, we are going to dive into his spiritual healing journey because I'm very curious about that. I'm always curious on spiritual healing because I feel like that's what I need right now, some spiritual healing. That way I can figure out my purpose and figure out life. And it's back. There you are.
I did something wrong. I was trying to figure it out. Okay, I don't know. I was trying to see. Let me see. Am I logged? Oh no, they're doing too much. You got to work with me. I'm new to all of this.
It's all right, but the good thing is with StreamYard you can get a free account. Oh,
See,
did
there
you
we
create
go.
a? There
Now
we
I'm
go.
logged in.
All
They
right,
got my picture too low, but it's okay. We'll get it figured out.
and now you can
But now,
share.
okay, so now I got that. So now what? Stream this to audience. Let's see. We're gonna figure this out. All right. Okay, how do I do this? Okay. Look, we got this. We got this.
There we go. And I think the background came at the perfect time because I was gonna dive into your spiritual healing journey, and yeah,
See, the universe knows how to work
it sure
things.
does. So let's get into
Okay,
that.
so that's
Wait, have you figured it out to stream?
I'm getting it now. See, oh, they got a lot going on, so I got that, but we're gonna don't worry. I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
No worries.
See, I needed to come on here so I could figure all this stuff out because, like I say, I'm horrible with all this stuff. I
I
could
like
do it.
I like being
I just
people's
don't be trying to
first
do it.
or motivator or inspiration. So we can always say Brian figures StreamYard after being on shit happens. Look at that.
There you go. So let's see. I think I got some stuff going now. I don't know. I'm trying to see. So we got it, but I'm still here. Okay, customized to each. I don't know what I'm customizing. Oh, it says it's required a title. Oh no. What's the title? I'll put
uh
there you go.
just put shit happens with talk shit with P.
We'll get it. I hope I'm not holding your time.
Oh no. We have 20 more minutes, so we're good. 20 25. I can't calculate. Actually, 20, yeah, 25. 25
Okay.
minutes ish.
Okay. Instagram stream key. I don't even know what that is. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. With Instagram, you can't like you'll have to go to your Instagram, then leave the page open, and then schedule the live, and then get the key, and then put it in, and then
Oh my.
it's a. That's why I don't stream on Instagram. I just take the video and dump it there because it's a process,
God.
an
Okay.
unknowing process.
Okay. I think we got. I think we We good. I think the Facebook is on there at least. So if
All
not,
right.
it'll be all right.
All right. So
Okay, there we go.
I want to get into your spiritual healing journey. Talk, talk to us about that. What got you into the spiritual healing journey?
Honestly, it's something that started probably when I was in my mid 20s because something told me that my health was going to decline. So I decided to stop drinking, start watching what I put inside of my body a bit better, just to start slowly taking better care of myself. And like once I got into my 30s, my health kind of started declining real quick. And for almost the entire part of my 30s until my 40s when I had my hip surgery, it was about my health and healing physically, healing mentally. And like that pretty much that became my job. It was my health, was to take care of what I put inside my body and how I healed myself. And the journey really started, I think I'll say sometime in October of last year. It was just like something clicked. And it's like, start meditating, start getting to understand yourself and know yourself so you could, understand why. Because I've been through a lot of shit and I never knew why. And I've always asked, I always thought I was a pretty good person. Never did anything intentionally to harm anybody. So I would always ask the question, why me? But once I sat and I meditated and I started connecting with myself, I got those answers. And immediately when I got those answers from myself, I healed because I knew there was a purpose for all the shit I was going through. I knew it wasn't just because, I was an asshole. I treated women badly. I, wasn't the best of who I could be. It wasn't because of that. It was because I had to experience things to be able to connect with others, to be able to understand their stories and to actually feel their stories. Because I've learned I'm I have empathic abilities. I can feel people's emotions, and that's goes back to my therapy. A lot of the emotions, things I was feeling was from other people. Those times I would be sitting and I would just get extremely depressed for no reason. And I was like, why? But that was because I was feeling other people's emotions at that time. And I didn't understand that. I didn't, but now I do. And now I understand how to accept that and understand that that's not mine because I know my emotions now. And I'm able to send out love in return to those who need it through that. So yeah, it's a interesting journey that I've been on. But like I said, it's something that uh yeah, that I love it. I love it.
It's funny you said you thought you were a good person. When I started also in the journey of my personal growth and understanding shit in my life, I also ended up realizing that I always thought I was this good ass of a friend, right? Because I do the shit that is required to do as a friend. But once I went into that journey, I realized like, oh fuck, I'm actually a dick of a friend. Like I am a good person, but I suck as a friend. Like yes, I give gifts or anything, but on that level of deeper understanding and caring, even though I'm empathy, like I was not as good of a friend as I thought I was. And sometimes that's a slap on the face, right? When you think certain things about yourself and then you do this work and you realize that all the shit you thought about yourself wasn't as good
Because
as
we think
you.
highly of ourselves.
Yeah, and I think
Eh,
maybe that's the reason people don't want to work on themselves, because you have to really dig deep on your shit and call yourself out.
Boy, you have to accept all the things you've done. You have to take accountability and understand that all that shit you did, it was you. even if you didn't intend to do something, you still you still did it. And one thing that I understood is one thing I said on one of my second episode, I think, is what I feel isn't what someone else feels. And that's in both situations. Somebody may make me feel a certain way, but they may not see it that way. And it's the same thing. I may make someone feel a certain way, and I may not realize how I made them feel. So you have to really look back and dig into yourself to really be like, okay, yeah, that was yeah, I have to forgive myself for that, you know. And there's a lot of self-forgiving that you're gonna do and you have to do.
And that's so true, because we are constantly pointing, oh, but she did this. Like, okay, just because they did that, you still gave the reaction you did, which wasn't also right. But we are always
Yeah,
giving ourselves excuses compared to excusing what the person did, because at the end of the day they're gonna do what the fuck they want to do, but it's how you do it as well. So I listened to this new podcast called The B Word, and the guest last week's on the episode said something like, even if I created the problem, I have to call myself out, which we do, because sometimes you have to look at your reactions, right? Because just
true.
because they did that, you reacted that, so maybe your reaction ended up creating that problem or making that sound. We can't always be calling people out and not looking at ourselves, because we are not perfect. So why should we hold people in these standards like they should be perfect when we are also not perfect? And that
Yeah,
all comes with growth, but and a mindset switch, which most people don't wanna get
yeah,
into, right? Because
yeah.
you will find
People
all these faults.
people hate to call themselves out, but that's the only person in every situation you have control over.
So
You have
true.
control not over anyone else in no situation. So how you respond, how you react is all up to you, and that will determine the outcome of the situation. You know, because if you choose not to engage someone, now you leaving it in their hands. So now whatever comes is in their court. So now then it's a respond or just continue to ignore. So it's all about you being of a higher self to not engage with certain things, especially when you know it's going to bring certain demons out of you, because that's what emotions are. That it's energy and motion, and those demons catch on to that because they can. So yeah, you just got to find it within yourself, and it's not easy because Lord, I tell you, this is how I'm still learning. But like I said, I'm an infant in finding out who I truly am and what I am truly capable of. So yeah,
And
it's very interesting.
it's a journey, whether it's spiritual healing or self-healing. It's a journey, which and it's really a roller coaster, because it's filled with so many weird emotions, right? Because you're digging all the shit about yourself constantly. And it's funny because sometimes you even think you have healed through certain situations or certain levels, and then you go and keep sharing your story. And that's why I like talking to people or having conversations, because the more you talk about certain things, it changes your perceptions on certain things, and you go back and be like, damn, I thought I was healed from this shit, but when Brian mentioned that thing, now I go back and look at myself like, wait, fuck, I still got work to do. So it's a constant.
It's always constant work, but that's how you continuously grow is by keep catching it. And that shows growth that you can catch it and realize it. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
it's still going and happening and you're not even realizing it, then that shows that you still haven't grown. So
I
every time you catch it, because we're human, we're people, it happens. It's gonna happen.
yeah.
We're gonna continue to get frustrated at things, but you just have to catch it in the moment and adjust it and realign your thinking.
I
So
tell I tell people all the time, you gotta be willing to unlearn the shit you think you know. Because half of the time we think we know because of how we were raised or what our parents told us. But even right now, most of our parents are also willing to do the work, and sometimes my parents come and be like, oh yeah, that shit don't matter anymore, like I was wrong for that. I don't even know why I say it, because it doesn't matter. So if our parents are willing to say that, right, that means the other shit that we were told or taught, that just because they believe that doesn't mean it's the truth, or doesn't mean that's how it should be. There's no when people tell me, oh, this is the norm, I'm like, but who says what is the norm, right? Where does the norm come from?
There's no such thing as a normal because we're all different. We all experience things differently. So you have to find
Your
your
norm.
normal, you know. And
Yes.
we've always been stuck in a life of where we've been put in boxes. Where this is the box that you're in. Everybody's in a box, whether it's a race, uh, your age group. It's you're always in the box. But once you set your mind outside of those limitations of being in the box, then you start to understand who you are, how your faults and your weaknesses are actually strengths that you haven't uncovered. You know what I'm saying? You just haven't tapped into those things. How just changing your mindset about life can change your perspective of life. So it's so many different things that you know people don't understand because they're stuck in the box. That I want people out of that box,
I want
because I'm
myself.
out. You know,
Me too. I live outside the box, and it's funny because a few weeks back, somebody told me, and they're like, I never thought you were African. And I was like, oh, how come? He's like, well, you're not the normal African child. And I was like, oh, what's a normal African child? And they're like, you're loud mouthed, you cars, you are 35, no kids, not married. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was the normal African child. And this
there you
person
go.
was
Now you know.
and this was a grown-ass person, literally speaking, thinking like he's actually speaking some real shit. And I'm just like, wow, the fact that you're this age, this person, and you're thinking like that, oh, because I'm a girl, I can't curse, or I should be married with kids, or I shouldn't be swearing, and I shouldn't be drinking beer or smoking weed, like all this shit. I'm like, where do you even get this shit? I'm like, have you? And I asked him, I was like, have you ever been to Africa? Any African country? By the way, you do know Africa is a continent, because I don't know there's an African normal child, because we are almost 57 countries. That means so many different cultures, so many different backgrounds, so many different being raised. It's like, no, I've never been to Africa. I just know from what I read or see. I'm like, maybe you should plan a trip before you tell people what a normal African child is or should.
Yeah, that's the problem. People think they know so much just because they read something.
That's why
You
you
know,
tell people
there's more
that.
knowledge.
And that's why you tell people, travel the world so you can see things, because the books ain't gonna tell you what they people write those books. They writing from their perspective, from what they either witnessed or they had. So it's not what they actually. Sometimes some people write from what they experience, but we are all in America right now, and all of us are experiencing different shit. The Jews are experiencing different shit. The blacks are experiencing different shit. And even within the Jews and within the black, we are still also experiencing different shit. Because what I'm experiencing as a black person, you probably aren't experiencing it. Or you are experiencing it more. So we can't just take one person's experience or and judge it for the entire fucking situation.
It's just for you to gain knowledge and to
Dig
ingest that and
deeper.
adjust to you. Yeah. It's not for you to follow it, verbatim, because that's just to me, that's just crazy. The only thing I'm gonna follow verbatim is what comes out of here and what comes from here. Other than
Amen.
that, I use everything else. To me, everything is a library to me. The world is a library for learning, learning from experiences from everything. There's never not a moment you can't learn something. So,
Amen.
because it's
Amen.
like we live in a library, an infinite library. People don't realize that life is an infinite library. You
It
always
is.
can learn, adjust, find things out about yourself. But if you want to be stagnant in who you are, then hey, be stagnant. I'm my mind moves a million miles like it does because I can't be stagnant. So,
And I
like I
love
said,
that. And you're right. Shout out to Mustang Cage. Uh, Shannon is my essay grant is my mentor, and every Friday, I think it's Friday or Wednesday, he does this post on Facebook, and he shares what he's learned that week, and he asks people, "What have you learned this week?" Because there's always something that we are constantly learning,
yeah,
whether you know you're learning it or not, you're learning something. And if if
yeah.
you've been on Twitter, you're constantly learning because Twitter has a way of showing you shit. You're like, oh damn, that's how you do it. I didn't know that. Even if it's the most silliest thing, but you're learning something new every fucking day.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So let me ask you, right? I'm a person who's an overthinker as well, and I live in my head so much that I have tried meditating, but just sitting quiet in peace, I can't, because now I go into my head, and again, I mentioned I'm a daydreamer, so I create scenarios, and then I dig myself deeper in those thoughts, and then I somehow now start freaking out like that shit is real, even though I created that shit. So I can never really sit still and meditate. How would you, since you're in the journey of meditating and spiritually, how would you advise somebody like me to get into meditating, or how to because I hear a lot of people saying meditating is good, and I want to really get into it because I feel like I really need to right now in my life. But how do I how do I make it work for me?
you you have to do it. You have to continuously do it, and try and focus on your breathing. Like when you're taking a breath, say breath in, breath out, because that'll kind of help keep you focused on something, which will start clearing your mind. And another thing about meditating, it's not gonna happen in 2 or 3 minutes. Like in some of my videos, when I talk to people, I tell them take 5 minutes to yourself, but to really get into it, you need to put at least 30 minutes before you even really start to like really get into it. So you have I tell if you have time to do anything else, you have time to find to sit with yourself. If you can give yourself 30 minutes to an hour just to meditate, it'll come. Because if like you just have to clear your mind and
Thank you.
focus on breathing. You don't even have to say it, just focus on taking those breaths in and pushing them out. In through your nose, out through your nose.
See,
Just focus on doing that
did
and
you
you'll
get
get there.
did you get a chance to meet Amanda, or as we call Amanda's, because she's also into breath work, and she was supposed to kind of help me, because I feel like once I nurture the breathing process, maybe it will become easier for me.
Well, that because that helps to clear your mind because whenever my mind I always starts having thoughts and it'll be a good 15, 20 seconds before I'm like, okay, breathing. So it's a process where you constantly have to go back and remind yourself. But once you get to it, once your mind clears and starts catching on, then you won't even be thinking about it. So it takes time, it takes practice, it takes dedication to yourself. To you. You have to dedicate to yourself. If you can dedicate to anything else, that's for everybody. You have to. And I talk shit because I'm a disabled veteran. I can be at home. But even before this, I didn't dedicate the time. I was playing video games, doing shit like that. Like shit that wasn't feeding my soul. It was feeding my physical, but it wasn't feeding my spiritual side. And once you really want to feed that side, you're gonna do it.
So
And like
how else can somebody feed their spiritual side apart from meditating?
Uh, that's where it starts, is to get to know yourself. You have to understand who you are, and you just. For me, it was easy because it was something that's been slowly. There was bits and pieces happening over the years, and now I look back and I can anything that happened in my past lives, I can correlate to where I am right now. So if you can go back to your childhood and correlate things that have happened to make you who you are, you will start understanding yourself and understanding the power that you've had to get through those situations, like maneuver through them to still come out on the end stronger. Because each thing you learned a lesson, you just have to go back and find, what did I learn? What did I learn? And then you got to throw that shit away once you've understood your lesson. You have to take the emotions and throw the emotions away and just understand the lessons. And that's one thing I've done. I've thrown the emotions of all those situations away. And it's just, what have I learned? Okay. That's what I learned. So okay, now I see how that benefited me there when I was doing that, because that shit wasn't gonna happen again. So it's all about figuring out those lessons so you don't keep repeating them and you grow and evolve.
I love that. Brian, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. But before we go, right? I want you to shout out yourself. Uh, uh, Let the people know about the your podcast that's gonna be coming back, the podcast that you're involved in. Hopefully, this time you remember the name. Any
I
amazing
got
projects?
everything. I got everything.
In case you have any amazing projects coming up that people should look out for, or something that you need supporting, and how people can get in touch with you or connect with you. So, sell yourself right now.
Okay, well, I'll warn you before I tell tell people about my TikTok. My TikTok it will send you down a rabbit hole of sorts. So if you go on there, be prepared. It's Solar Expressions. It's going to take you down the rabbit hole. Instagram. If you go on my Instagram, I have Solar Expression, same thing, but there's my old poetry and things that I did before, because all those things are still me. I'm going to eventually get back, but the way I'm going to do things is from a different mindset, a different perspective, because who I am, that was more entertainment. Now I'm more of finding ways to make people whole with what I do, because that it was the same thing, but the intentions are going to be totally different from the aspects where I'm coming from now. But if you want to see who I am and parts of me, you can go back on my Instagram and see uh it's Soul Expressions. You see, it's still all there. Same with the TikTok. Everything I did is still there, so you can see who I am still and how I've evolved. Because I think that's one of the most important things, is for people to see me evolve in front of their faces. Like, one day I was this person, now I'm this person, but I'm still the same person.
We grow
I'm a
every day. We are
spiritual.
growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that I am more than just a physical being now. I understand that, you know, life is a cycle called reincarnation. And, I understand all those things. So back to Two Cigars in the Blunt podcast. Check that out. We going live tonight at 8. So if anybody is free tonight at 8, come hang out with us for a minute. And we have an after show called Ashed Out. My own podcast, Solar Expression Podcast. You can find that on YouTube. And if you just want to listen to the audio and you don't want to look at my beautiful face, you can listen to the audio. And the audio version that's streamed, you can also go back to listen to episodes of my first podcast that I did, where I interviewed people and we read poetry. So that's still on there. Because again, I'm going to get back to interviewing people and having people come share their talents, because to me, that's how you find your purpose, is through your talents and the gifts that you have honed throughout your life. So if that's one thing I'll say, is please, if you have any talents or gifts, lean into that, become that. I don't give a shit if you got a 9 to 5. Lean into yourself and your talent and grow who you are in that. manifest that talent into who you are. Don't be stuck in a job that you hate and that's not who you are. Because some people have jobs that they love and that's who they are, but some people don't. And I'm reaching out to those people who don't have those, who have the talents but are scared. Dive into that shit. Put Become your talent. You are your talent because that's what I'm doing. I am
Amen.
my talent. I thought it was poetry. I thought it was music. I thought it was cooking. But all those things tie into who I am as a healer. And I'm not a healer per se. I'm just here to help and be an ear for those who need it. And a guide. I'm working on learning my herbs so I can heal that way. I'm going to be doing energy healing. I'm learning Reiki next month so I can do energy healing. So, like I said, I'm about to be a full healer. I understand so much about myself and what I can do, and like I'm just loving the knowledge and the opportunity to grow.
I
So
love
yeah,
I love that, and definitely inspiring. You're inspiring even me right now, who's kind of trying to figure out where I fit in right now, or how I wanna move forward with my life and my purpose. So, thank you. I am
we,
glad
we,
I
we,
did
we
not.
can we can have a offline conversation, or you can come on my show and we can talk about you and try and help guide you. Because, like I said, that I love to listen. I love to hear what people's ideas are because I can always find something that, may help you or just to listen and you hear yourself talk and like, I knew it all along, but I just never said it out loud to anybody. So you can come on my show and we can have that conversation about that and help you grow who you are
I'm
because you're
definitely
ready. You're ready to,
I'm definitely taking you up on that. So I am definitely going to do that. And I appreciate you offering me that because I fucking need it. And that's the thing,
I got
right?
you.
When you need something, open your mouth because there are people who are willing to help, but they won't know unless you fucking open your mouth. So for all those out
Yeah.
there who are suffering or just open your mouth,
Need an ear.
somebody will
Reach out.
come.
Reach out.
Yes, somebody is there willing to help, they just don't know that you want the help. And I also want to
Yeah.
shout out when you said you're more than the body. I want to shout out to these two incredible guys I met at Podfest, and their podcast is called More Than a Title, and we had a conversation and they're like, we are more than a title, which is true. Sometimes we hold these titles. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a to a standard that,
It's not,
oh,
it's
I'm a
not who
mom
you
or
are.
this. It is not. You are more than that title. There's a lot.
More than
Just
that.
like you are a chef, you are poetry, you're a musician, you're a husband. There's
That's
all
what my
this.
physical is. My physical world is that, but you will so much more than that. You just have to
Exactly. You're a good,
understand and
you're
dig
a
into
soul
yourself.
inside there that's eager to
Yes.
come out and learn and touch and inspire and motivate. And that's why I love you, Brian, because you literally sing around the podfest and you don't know how people are going to inspire you when you meet them, but then
Yeah.
and sometimes people assume that people have to do this big major shit to inspire or motivate you, but just sometimes being in somebody's presence is inspirational enough. So just because somebody hasn't probably done something physical or anything doesn't mean they haven't inspired your life. Just sometimes even by somebody smiling at you can be an inspiration because you probably needed somebody to smile so you can go on with that day. That's inspiration.
Definitely.
But thank you, Brian, for hanging out with me, and for all of you who are watching live. I appreciate you hanging out with us on Shit Happens, where shit always happens. If you're watching the replay, enjoy. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 with Sid and 12 with Rebecca, and we're going to have a blast. Until then, stay happy and enjoy your weekend. Remember, shit always fucking happens, so you might as well live that fucking life.